Raja with us. This exchange has gone viral. You have over 1 million views on our TikTok.
So I basically asked the question, if God forbid your daughter were raped and became pregnant, would you force her to carry the fetus to term?
And her reaction was, I'm working to live in a world where making decisions about abortion are necessary. And it's so maddening because they don't.
Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez. Weeknights from 5 to 6 p.m. on WCPT 820.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And a happy Sunday fun day to everybody out there. Scott Duff here along with Ellen Miller.
Good morning, Scott.
You're back.
I'm back. I feel like I was gone forever.
You were gone forever.
But
you were gone far away
I know.
forever.
I was in some faraway places that I'll tell you about in a minute. Ohio was
glamorous.
Ohio, very glamorous, very exotic.
And then you were on the seven seas,
I was
or
on
one of the
sea. I
one
was
of
on
them.
one of the seas, and I just got back last night.
How wonderful! We got this beautiful weather for you.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, when you left, it was like, oh, delightful fall.
It was.
And now it's just like,
yep, here we go.
hello, welcome.
It does happen this time of the year, whether we want it to or not.
Yeah, it sure does. It sure does. Hey, but we've got a great show for you today. Hey, it is Transgender Awareness Week. Yay. That's through the 19th, and it culminates with the Trans Day of Remembrance on the 20th. And we've got a fabulous show for you around that. Chicago House has been working for the LGBTQ community since 1985. And on today's show, we're speaking with Lene Karlik, Director of Employment Programs, about the statewide Identity and Innovation Summit, and Kevin Pleasant, who is Director of Trans Life Care Programs for Chicago House. We're going to speak with the two of them to see what they're doing about diversity and inclusion in the workplace, as well as the incredible work that they do providing health services for the trans community. Also, our good friends over at the Gender Cool Project, they have launched a brand new campaign for trans youth and sports, and we're going to be speaking with the founders of Gender Cool Project, Gara Goldstein and Jennifer Levine Grosshandler. You know, the weather is changing.
Yes, it is.
Halloween is beyond us, is behind us in our mirrors. So, of course, that means it's the holiday time. You know?
Yes, it is.
Get ready for the holidays, and Second City is kicking off the holidays with a loving tribute to all of our favorite Hallmark movies, Deck the Hallmark. And we're gonna be speaking with our friend Mitchell Fain and Tina Arfey. So it'll be a fun show. And we'd love to hear from you. So give us a call at 773-763-9278. The number again is 773-763-9278. Of course, you can find us on Facebook, where we are coming at you live. You can find us on Out Chicago Radio, and while you're there, give us a like, give us a share, all that good stuff. And if you want, you can tune into WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, on the Faceplace. And while you're at it, why not follow WCPT on all social media at WCPT 820 on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the TikToks. So there we go. Helen Miller, how are you? You've been gone for so long.
I know.
I was having abandonment issues.
Well, first of all, great. My hat's off to your. I didn't get to hear Amy last week because I was at sea, but I did listen to Vanessa on the way home from Ohio.
Honey.
I mean, honey, not Vanessa. You know what? I was thinking about Vanessa because she wrote something yesterday on Facebook that Honey was, as always, a joy to listen to.
She's wonderful.
I really enjoyed the show, Kathy. That was a great show. Thank you, Honey West. You're more than able. You're fantastic. And Scott, you did a great job. And I'm back. It's great to be back. I did a family reunion.
How was that?
You know what? It was really nice.
Yeah?
I could tear up thinking about that one. My aunts, as I told you, Scott, are 99, 97, 91.
That is just amazing.
And I've got an aunt that's a little bit younger. She's 85, but she has Alzheimer's. And I had some tender moments with her and some tears, but I'm so happy that I went for many reasons, and I had a good time there. There's nothing like family, and the other advice: go when it's a non-presidential election year. It's perfect.
Oh, it's great.
It's perfect.
I bet.
I didn't have anything.
We had to talk about politics.
We had to talk about politics.
Just got to enjoy each other. Quick question for you. So your aunt who is living with Alzheimer's, did she have like a moment of clarity?
Oh, she's very clear for the most part.
Wonderful.
She got on medication right away, but all of a sudden she'll ask, where's Lynn, her daughter, who came with her. When she saw me, she cried when she walked into the room.
Oh,
and
that's
then
wonderful.
I walked her out when I left. I wanted to walk her out the door. I'm going to cry saying this. And she just said, Ellen, have a great life. And she kind of teared up again.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you get all teary on the radio.
That was like 2 weeks ago. But, she and I, when I was little, I lived in Hamilton, Ohio, and my mom had 4 kids. I'm the eldest of 4. My aunt lived nearby, and I'd stop off at her house. She and my uncle, my mom's brother, were unable to have kids at the time. And I know that I was kind of like, it was great to get the attention, because as the eldest with 3 little under me,
right.
I didn't get that much attention.
Right.
And I got attention, and they doted on me, and she was my favorite person. I mean, she was my favorite person.
That's how I was with my aunt.
So, and so we've always had a close bond. She went on to adopt 2 kids and then get pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I love her. I got to see 2 of her 3 kids. And so, we've always been close. But, the years went on. We weren't as close, I guess you could say, and moving away. But I have always had a bond with her, and it was clear that it was still there after all these years.
That's wonderful.
So that was a great takeaway from being with family.
And Kathy went with you as well.
Kathy went with me, and Kathy is loved by my family, and she loves my family. There was Greek dancing, Greek pastries.
Was there plate throwing?
No plate throwing. There was a Greek band. It was a lot of fun. But I got back from that, and then I went on the cruise.
I know, your blues cruise.
My blues cruise. And I have to tell you, Scott, I was waking up in the middle of the night before I left going, am I crazy to be doing this? What if I get COVID? Because if you get COVID, you know what happens on a cruise? You're locked in.
You're locked in your stateroom, and that is a tiny.
It's a tiny room, and to know what I'd be missing, because I'm up I sleep about 4 hours a night.
Right.
That didn't happen. My hat's off to Holland America, to the legendary blues cruise people. The protocols were in place. One of the main performers did not get on the ship because she tested positive twice.
Wow.
And God bless him. I mean, you know what? That came first. It was the health of the crew.
Yeah.
She's one of the Chicago artists. And then another woman, her brother was sick. She couldn't come. And another woman got a stomach virus. Nothing to do with COVID. The women were going down like flies.
Oh no, the performers.
The performers, some of them. Yeah, another woman that I love. She was out, but she came back and did a great show. She wasn't COVID, of course. So anyway, my hat's off to them. And I want to say something else about. I stopped at 2 islands, Curacao and Aruba. Both had mask mandates in place when you're indoors. Our taxi driver, the only time I realized, in an enclosed area was in a cab where he was wearing a mask and we were wearing a mask, just like here.
Right.
And I talked to him about, we're all, we're 80-some% vaccinated. I'm vaccinated. I'm like, what is wrong with this country that I'm living in?
I don't know.
What is wrong?
I don't know.
Scott, it makes me crazy because these islands are on, they want to welcome tourists back. They're serious about the vaccine and taking care of it. And so I felt very safe. And luckily, everything, turned out great. I mean, I went directly from the airport to CVS to get a test. I did not want to take any chances.
Thank you.
For you, for Kathy, for Devin, anybody else that I was going to see right off the boat. And it worked great. I was sitting by the pool and I said, I'm going to make this appointment. I'm going to do it. I did it. I was negative, of course. I got the results back within a half an hour.
Now, did the cruise line, did they have any sort of, what were their protocols? Did you have to have proof of vaccination?
You had to have proof of vaccination.
Okay, cool.
You had to have a
PCR test.
48 hours before getting on the ship. Then you had to have a rapid test at the terminal.
Wow, all right.
All those, and all of us were like, great. No one complained. Everybody was happy about it.
Yeah, because,
because we're smart people, okay?
Yeah.
We're happy about it.
Yeah.
We're happy to be vaccinated. We were happy they went through those protocols because, everybody had a great time. No one, I don't know if there maybe a story will come out. Maybe somebody had it, but there were no widespread breakouts that we know about.
Yeah, because cruise ships are because
they're in general they're a problem.
Well, in general they're a problem.
The norovirus, and over the years, I remember I've been doing this cruise for 24 years. They had hand sanitizer and stuff going on years ago because of the norovirus and all these other things that have gone.
Because it is basically a floating petri dish.
It is. So a lot of things are outdoors. It's a responsible crowd. It's not an inexpensive cruise. It's an older demographic. I didn't hear one person make a complaint about having to be vaccinated and go through everything. Everybody was very like-minded. And we were at 65% capacity.
Oh, okay. That's great. So there was some room. Were there any mask mandates inside?
No,
because everybody was tested, and
it was we felt like we were in a bubble. Like sports teams, that have had people, that played in the NBA did it, and others, they kept them in the bubble for the playoffs. I mean, you went in. And if you told the truth and you were vaccinated.
Yeah, like Aaron Rodgers, So
it was weird. We first got don't get me started on him. When we first got on, people were still wearing their masks the first few hours because everybody's kind of like, we're not used to this.
Yeah, it's a lot of people to be. I mean, you're on a ship. Yeah, and going back to the beginning of the pandemic, if you remember the ships that were let's keep them off the coast.
And I learned some very sad stories. These crews, Scott, I don't know if you've been on a cruise ship, but
I have not.
They are most of the crew is Indonesian. Mm-hmm. Wonderful, wonderful people. They make a pittance that they send home, to their families. Well, many of the crew, and I talked to them, were some of those that were stranded in these boats.
Oh, really?
And they were as many as 100 days in their room, let out on certain breaks for air to go out on deck. Were not getting their full pay because they weren't working. They were just stranded there. Several jumped off the ship, jumped off to their deaths because of the mental breakdowns that were going on. I mean, we didn't hear any of these stories. I mean, this is a Holland America ship. These are foreign people on the boat. There's foreign people that own and these stories. I mean, we heard about.
Wow, that sounds like Succession on HBO.
Yeah, well, it was sad, and we were all very and over half of the people on the cruise were returnees. Over half. So we know. Most people have been on multiple cruises. They treated the crew. Everybody was just so joyous to be there. All people kept talking about was how grateful and how lucky we are.
Yeah.
The musicians were on stage almost in tears saying, I haven't played for a crowd in a year and a half.
Yeah.
This is the best crowd I've seen in 2 years. You're the only crowd I've seen in 2 years.
Right.
But there was a lot of gratefulness and a lot of care, and it was just kind of idyllic, after all we've been through. And I was worried about it, and I'm glad I went. And I got some chances to perform. Chicago was well represented. Ronnie Baker Brooks was there. Billy Branch, one of my mentors and good friends, and his wife. And they brought me up on stage for a fantastic jam that was probably one of my musical highlights on the boat. And all I can say is I feel blessed and lucky that I made it there, that I had a great time, and that I've come back in good health. So
Yeah. And you feel like rejuvenated.
I feel rejuvenated, and I feel that there's hope, and we have to at some point start getting on with our lives. Again, I come back, I listen to the news about all the unvaccinated in this country, and I think about these island people, that people look at them as third world, countries. These people know right from wrong. They know that political divisiveness when it comes to vaccines and health are just not in the equation for them. So let's just get it together here, folks, and get vaccinated. And we're always going to be faced with issues with a pandemic, but we can get back to our normal lives if everybody gets vaccinated. I'm convinced.
I'm convinced of that too. But right now it's not happening.
No. So what did I miss? How are you? What's been going on? I didn't see a lot of news, but I didn't seem like much went on.
No, a lot has been going on.
What's been going on?
Yeah. Oh, there's... Like in terms of the news or with me?
Yeah, with everything.
Well, I mean, there's, the January 6th, Steve Bannon.
I heard he was indicted.
He's all indicted and everything. The trial of Kyle Rittenhouse is going on.
I have heard about that. That sounds like that's going to be not going to turn out well.
I know. I think
those that like justice.
It's going to be a poop parade over there.
That judge what a nut he is. I was reading just last night and this morning about him.
Yeah, it ain't good. It ain't good. So, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah. Hopefully the jurors have a conscience.
Yeah. I don't know. So in the news, it's still a constant little poop parade. Mm-hmm. Inflation is going up.
A little bit.
Biden is trying to get all of his infrastructure stuff done. He got some of it passed.
I got some of it passed.
There we are. Yeah. It's been,
And the holidays.
The holidays are coming up, and everyone's all freaking out about that. We're hosting Thanksgiving.
Nice.
This year, and usually we have like not a huge, but like we do like an orphans Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So folks, but that's not happening this year. We're just gonna have a nice small, 4-person. We've got some friends coming up from Memphis.
We're having a 4-person as well.
We're having a 4-person.
Well, it's extended from 2. We've doubled the capacity from last year.
Right? Indeed. But one of them is my friend Cecilia in Memphis, who I just adore. But let me tell you, she's in full on panic mode about the supply chain.
No, what is it that she's missing?
Oh, I don't know. She's just worried that look, you better get your groceries now. You better hurry up because it's like we're going to be out of everything. I'm like, they're not going to be out of celery. It's like, but we're going to be out of. We got to get everything now.
We're not going to be out of marshmallows and sweet potatoes. It's okay.
Gross. They can be out of marshmallows and sweet.
We don't make that either.
That's nasty together. No. Sweet potatoes are good. Marshmallows are good. I don't like them together. No. Yeah. So we're getting ready to host all of that. But speaking of food, so I got to go to Alinea this week.
Did see that in the notes. Was it your first time?
It was my first time there. Yeah. Holy smokes.
What was the occasion?
A friend of ours who lives in Hawaii was coming in for a business trip. Mm-hmm. And she's like, hey, do you want to go to Alinea? My treat. We're like,
you said the magic words, my and treat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And actually, another friend of ours from Memphis flew in because there were four tickets. So there would have been 3. So she flew in just to go to one.
People fly in all the time to go to that restaurant.
I totally understand why. It is it's ranked number 15 in the world.
Yep.
One of the top is the 15th best restaurant in the world. Mm-hmm. I totally understand why. I've never had an experience like that. You've been before,
yes?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'd never been, and it was just one of those. It felt like self-care. Like people talk about well, why would you do that? Spend it because it is expensive. It is a very expensive thing. And like, hey,
did you pair wines?
Yes, there was wine pairings that were happening.
That adds another layer.
That adds another layer to it. And then they were like, oh, for tonight you have 9 courses, but we are doing a special because it's truffle season. So they were doing this.
Oh, don't tell me. I love truffles.
I love truffles too. It can be a little bit much, but they're like, you can add on a special one. It's 100 for special truffle pancakes. Of course, much better description. It's $175 a person. We'll skip on that one.
For some truffle pancakes.
For some truffle pancakes.
Only at Alinea.
But it just felt special. You felt special and taken care of. It was one of those moments where it was like, no, we want you to have a great time. And it was like just fussy enough. Like it was never pretentious. It was always grounded, down to earth. The people who took care of you, it felt the service was just impeccable, and it
doesn't
felt
get any better than that.
And it felt effortless, even though I know how much, because we were talking with our, because the service team, we were speaking with them afterwards, and I'm like, thank you. I know how much work went into what you all did, but it felt like it was easy breezy. I mean, it was just it's one of those things where really, if, you get 2 massages. And that is the price of going to Alinea. People pay money to go to a concert or go to sporting events. Like I don't even know how much Cubs game tickets are.
Yeah, they're way up there. They're $100 plus.
They're $100 plus. For a baseball game. So this is like my baseball game. And it was one of those to see the creativity, the inspiration, and it was one of those meals where usually when you go to fussy. Little tasting menu type of thing.
You feel hungry and you get home.
Yeah, you need I need to get a pizza. Not at all. It was felt good.
I have to ask, what dessert did they have?
They did the frozen ice cream splatter.
The splatter
thing, on the table. But it was I don't know, I'm without words.
One of the things that I enjoyed over the pandemic was Alinea takeout, which was
I know. I remember you did that. I thought of you.
I did it a couple times, and
they're still offering that.
They are. While you were talking, my mind was going to that. I got to check and see, because for those that may not want to sit down and have the $700, $800 experience for 2 or more, whatever it is these days, for $150 or $200, you had you brought home the food. They gave you careful instructions, detailed instructions on how to warm each course. You'd sit down, have one, get up. It was like a whole 2.5 hour thing at home.
Yeah.
So it's another great way to experience it if you don't want to do the full blown. But you're right, that service and the presentation is hard to beat.
Oh, it's good. Like the dining room is beautiful. We were upstairs in the salon, so as we're walking into this beautiful room, this white room with these there were black little bubbles hanging from the ceiling all over. Like, oh, how wonderful! And we go into our sit down at our table, and there are little black bubbles over everyone's table, and we're just enjoying everything. The courses just were gorgeous and creative. I'll show you pictures and everything. But one of my favorite thing was when at one point they came over and they just took that black bubble off the thing. Like, here's your next course, and it was like it had been floating over your table. It was kohlrabi that had been lacto fermented in milk bread and salt, and then fire baked. And then they brought out this. If Wes Anderson had a deli slicer. I mean, it was this it looked like it was made out of old trombones. It was just this gorgeous thing, and they were shaving the kohlrabi at the table, and they brought up these beautiful dishes of curry and truffles with this there was a little squid with coconut noodles coming out. I'll show them. And then it was just, it was fun and fanciful. Yeah, it was fun. And one point they brought out this charred Atlantic char, and then okay, you're done with that. Turn your dish over. You're like, what? And it was just this pedestal, and you turn it over, and inside there was a little bowl, and they had made this gelée out of this tea out of bourbon barrels that was smoked bourbon barrel tea with salmon roe and a carrot puree down at the bottom. Oh, it was just, you're like, what is happening here?
I think it's gotten even to higher levels since I was there 15 years ago.
It was just one of those
that sounds even more involved.
But it was just the presentation. It was an experience. It felt like, for the next 2.5 hours, leave everything outside. It felt like fashion. Yeah. Step into a fantasy.
Yeah, nice.
It was just
all your senses were filled.
Yeah, it was very fantastical, and it was one of those things where you wanted something, somebody just brought it to you. It was just so wonderful, and the sad part, our friend from Hawaii had to cancel her trip, so she didn't come. She wasn't able to go. I know you're making this face. Yes.
Oh.
But we're already saving up for our next visit because
Okay,
it was one of those moments of like, oh, this.
In my head, I'm already planning a visit.
I
Hearing
could do
you
this
talk
like
about
once
it
a
again,
year.
I'm like, I need to go again.
But it is one of those things. Like it is expensive, but it is an event.
It is.
And
people pay hundreds of dollars for, like you say, for theater, for concerts, for sports. They pay $500 a ticket.
Yeah. And
So-
this one, at least you get nourishment.
You get nourishment.
And get to experience
and the
creativity.
outcome, is going to be fantastic. You don't know at a sports event.
Right? You're knowing and going ahead that you're already on the winning team.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. Oh,
but it
okay.
was a wonderful experience and a great way to kind of ease our way into fall.
Yeah,
Which is
I'm
winter.
glad you did that. I'm glad you got to experience
Yeah,
that.
because, man, now that we're in the daylight savings time. And it's dark at 4:30. It's like, oh, I was looking outside the other day. I was like, oh no, it's about to rain. Oh no, that's just nighttime. It's night. We do this now. We're at nighttime now. Boo. Anyway, oh my gosh, I just shot
that's all right.
past.
It's our break. We can do with it what we want.
This I know. But before we go to a break, this part of At Chicago is brought to you by Team Hochberg. If you are looking to purchase a new home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Girl, Dahlia. She's 27, a nurse, income $80,000 a year, purchasing her first home. That's pretty solid right there,
Yeah.
So Dahlia talked with an online lender who didn't answer her questions, so she called her mom for advice. We all know that's important to call mom. Dahlia's mom recommended that she contact Team Hochberg, the only lender she trusted to help her only daughter finance her first home. Team Hochberg answered Dahlia's questions. They talked her off the ledge multiple times during the process and secured the mortgage on Dahlia's first home. So let's review. Dahlia first contacted an online lender who didn't answer her questions. Bad. Then, based upon her mom's recommendation, she called Team Hochberg, who held Dahlia's hand throughout the entire process and successfully helped her secure the mortgage on her first home. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of WCPT listeners, our listeners' children, and grandchildren secure mortgages on new homes like Dahlia, but they can't help if you don't call 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. That number again is 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Homeside Financial, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061. We've got to take a quick break, but when we come back, it's been a big week in music. Britney Spears, her conservatorship is in. There's a big gay kiss on the AMC. What? So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT.
Today on Hey Culligan's Smart Home, Smarter Water Softener, here's Kevin.
Hey Culligan, can a smart water softener lift those heavy salt bags for me?
Kevin, it can.
Wait, it can?
Yup, the smart high-efficiency water softener from Culligan can alert your dealer when the salt needs to be replaced, and they'll do it for you, so your water stays soft and you stay away from lifting the bags.
I mean, I could lift them if I wanted.
No judgment here, Kevin. We're happy to do it, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with the local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
This is a WCPT Civil Rights Snapshot. When the United States entered World War II, President Franklin Roosevelt believed that Major League Baseball should continue despite most of the players being off defending their country in the war. Worried about the future of the sport, Philip Wrigley founded the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League in 1943. Despite being the first league for women, the league did not want any racial integration and turned away pitcher Mamie Johnson because she was black. But Johnson's love for the game did not let this stop her, as Johnson and two other women of color tried out for the Negro Leagues, and all three of them were then signed by the Indianapolis Clowns. The three women faced struggles from their male counterparts, but won over the league and the fans with their playing ability. During their run, the Clowns had the highest attendance, beating out any team in Major League Baseball and the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League. Please stay vigilant about our civil rights. The fight is never over.
Well, the Democrats are fighting amongst themselves. The Republicans are still trying to overturn the 2020 election, and the Fed is going to stop easing money next year. So what could you do, you ask? Time to buy that new home. Or if that doesn't float your boat, it's definitely time to refinance. Call me, Scott Silberman, at 847-423-0301 to discuss your financing needs. For purchases, I will run you through automated underwriting so you will have a solid pre-approval when you start looking. Realtors really love that Oops. For refinances, whether you are looking to get cash out to consolidate debt or do some home improvement, shorten your loan term, or just get a lower rate, quit waiting. The Fed couldn't be any clearer. Rates next year are going up. So call me today, Scott Silberman, at 847-423-0301. Start online at scottsilberman.go, apmc.com. And yes, this old school liberal still answers his own phone, 847-423-0301.
American Portfolio Mortgage is an equal housing opportunity lender, NMLS 175656, Scott's NMLS 681059.
I'm Honey West. Welcome to Out Chicago on WCPT.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller, as we roll along on this rainy day.
Talking more linear during the break because we can never get enough talk about food.
I know. I do have to give a big shout out to my friend and longtime listener, Kathy.
Yes.
Who, after I had posted about it, and she dropped off the Alinea cookbook.
How nice.
For me. I know. I'm
God,
so excited.
You need like machines and things.
You need machines.
Like
I said, you need a deli slicer made of old trombones and fairy dust to make all of this stuff. But it was just...
I mean, his partner, Nick Kokonis, is like one of his jobs is to come up with all these, the different...
The glassware?
All of it. Yeah, all the different things.
Yeah, they work with an independent glassware. Like, I'll show you pictures. Okay. It's great. Actually, we do have somebody, Roosevelt's on the line. He wants to talk about food in Chicago. Hey, Roosevelt, you called the right show.
Hey, Roosevelt.
How you doing?
Good morning, guys. Thank you for taking my call. Love your show. Never miss it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I understand you have Greek roots, right?
Yeah, I'm all four grandparents immigrated from Greece.
Okay, what about you, Scott?
I'm Swedish and Scottish, so there's a lot of fish in my world.
So you guys are perfect with my question. Okay, as a kid in Mexico, I was in charge of collecting the blood. What they would do is take the goat or the lamb, the sheep, and turn it upside down and cut the neck, and then you take a big container and you collect the blood.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm leading to, hey, have you guys had any dishes prepared with blood in it? Because that's what they do in Mexico. And they also cook, I was in charge also, my grandfather used to say, put the head of the lamb or the head of the goat, and then you put it in a cast iron, not a skillet, but
like a Dutch oven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And then you put it in, then you bury it in coals. Do a fire and bury it, and then within an hour or so, it's done. So those two questions: have you guys had any dishes prepared with blood, or have you ever had head of goat or head of lamb?
Not to my knowledge. The only vision I have, Roosevelt, of when you said about the goat or the lamb, I was in Greece for the very first time out of college and visited my relatives who I'd never met in a small village outside of Sparta, and it was Easter. And when I woke up, we were trying to guess which lamb was going to running around, and it was going to be our Easter dinner.
No.
And when I woke up, it was the black one. He was hanging upside down with a pot beneath his. But I don't think we ate that blood. I just remember being very grossed out by it.
Yeah, I've had a blood sausage. I've had that before, and guanciale is actually the pig face. I've had pig at pig face.
What's it called?
That's awful. So I apologize to all the vegetarians and vegans who are listening right now.
Girl in the Goat has pig face.
Yeah, but I've had that. I am an adventurous eater. I've not had any Mexican preparation, but maybe Roosevelt, you can have us over and we'll do something fun like that.
That's so good. You don't know what you guys are missing. Now, in closing, I'm going to say this. On 60th and Pulaski, there used to be a Polish smorgasbord, okay?
Uh-huh.
And they used to have a dish made out of blood. Now, I don't remember if it was duck blood, but it was called czarnina. I could be wrong. If anybody is Polish out there, oh, my God, it was so good. And they used to have, the typical Polish dishes, but they used to have that specific blood dish. And another thing, they're like menudo. Have you guys ever had menudo? Tripe?
Yep.
Okay. They used to have a thick type of Polish, I call it Polish, I don't know what the name of it, Polish menudo. It was so good. And that's why I was asking, because there's a lot of similarities. Well, it was brought from Europe, I guess, to the Americas, part of it.
You know, I remember watching an Anthony Bourdain episode, and he was in Africa, I believe, and he was drinking a very, it gives you strength. It's blood and milk together. And I remember that episode. I remember watching it and being completely grossed out by it. But,
but that's other cultures. You never know.
I was trying, I go, wow, I thought I was adventurous. But, you know, I mean, they literally, they nick the animal. They don't kill it. And they get the blood right there, hot from the...
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, see what I'm talking about? It's just fresh from the animal without killing it, and then they mix it with this milk and drink it instantly. Anyway, that was my...
Wowza. Well, that just took a turn.
We're grossing people out talking about blood.
Happy Sunday morning.
Back to your brunch, everybody.
There we are. Enjoy that mimosa and that lovely cup of coffee. Whoa, thanks, Roosevelt, for calling. Things are happening and dropping all over. What just happened?
So we had
a
tripod that went flying for I don't know good reason.
Wow! Alrighty, so we now own now Scott Duff owns WCPT after being attacked by a tripod.
Things that happen when you're on the air on live radio.
Wow! Alrighty, yes.
Okay,
sorry
but anyway,
about that was exciting.
So we were going to talk about
so Britney Spears, she finally won the case. Her conservatorship is over. That happened. That went down. I believe it was Friday, which is really exciting for her, and it also kind of breaks news for other conservatorships for people who are in conservatorships, because as you know, this was a really, really intense situation that she's been in since 2008.
Very contentious, yeah.
Very contentious. Her dad, Jamie Spears, he took conservatorship in 2008, but he controlled everything, her finances and her personal life. And of course this happened right after her very public
because she
struggle.
did have a mental breakdown. And she had mental issues, and she had
And she was going through a custody battle at the time. There was, we all remember the moment where she shaved her head. There was talk about maybe substance abuse issues, and he came in and took care of,
and probably did her a big favor at the time.
But the fact that it's been since that time, she has gone on 2 tours, had a couple of residencies in Vegas. She's been able to perform, and she does not control her life. That was a huge thing. I mean, we're talking people couldn't come over to her house without being approved by her dad. She couldn't even get a cup of coffee, without her dad. So it was a huge thing. It's a big victory for her. And again, for people across the country who are under conservatorships, are looking at these issues, to see how just they are. I mean, she's almost a 40-year-old woman and was not able to go to Starbucks. You know what I mean? It just seems very strange, and I don't know. I'm very happy for her. Clearly, all of our fans are just, because Free Britney has been a huge movement for years. So, good on her.
Yeah, I'm happy that she's come to a point where she can handle her own life, and that it now appears that she can. So, it's back in her hands.
Yeah, and granted, also, there have been a couple of documentaries that have come out lately about her life and her struggles, her fight with this conservatorship. Of course, any sort of documentary is going to have some sort of slant. Sure. Regardless of what it is, they all do, as objective as I try to be. But it just seems like it's about time.
Now, is a conservatorship different than guardianship?
Yeah, yes, because I think as a guardianship, I think is for minors. I don't know the difference legally, but there is a difference. Because I'm not.
Yeah, we're not lawyers.
I'm not a lawyer person.
Yes, we checked.
I'm being attacked by tripods.
Because sometimes people do take guardianship of people when they are not able, due to mental issues, for example, no matter what age they are, to handle things. And it's a touchy situation because sometimes you take guardianship over somebody and they present well because you've done the things that they needed to do to get, like, on the right track, to get the help.
Yeah.
And then they present well, and then they go to, hey, guess what? I'm fine now. And then they are no longer under anybody's, guard. I think in Brittany's case, she's proven she's been out there for a long time and able to take care of herself.
Well, and that to me is like, that's part of the frustration, like she's gone on tour. She's had residencies in Vegas. Like, that is a demanding schedule.
Oh, yeah.
And and clearly she showed up, she performed, she did her job, and yet she still wasn't in control of her life.
And she's raising her children, right? They didn't take her children.
No, yeah, she's
a mom, and she's raising her kids.
Yeah.
And that's. I mean, if you're able to do that, that's a pretty good sign that you're on the right track.
Yeah. So way to go, way to go for the pop princess. That we have to make this a short break because we do have to take a break.
Oh, darn, I want to keep talking.
That's all right. Well, we can keep talking to our next guest because we're very excited. After this break, we're going to be speaking with Lene Karlik and Kevin Pleasant from Chicago House. Lene Karlik is Director of Employment Programs.
Love Chicago House.
Me too. And Kevin Pleasant is Director of Trans Life Care Programs with them. We're going to be speaking about the incredible work that they are doing about diversity, equity, inclusion, and just the all-around safety and well-being and health of the LGBTQ community, especially the T community. So please stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT.
Hey, looking for a winning team on a winning station? You found it right here on WCPT 820 AM. Join the marvelous one, Dan Marver, the palacious one, Paul Shivari, Sports on the Couches, Mike Mercado, and yours truly, Devin Tingle, every Sunday at 9 p.m. for the Sports Cubicle, where the inmates run the asylum, and the boss, well, they yell at us on Monday morning because we're working overtime. Looking for your late night dose of sports talk radio? We're here. Join us on the Sports Cubicle Sunday nights at 9 p.m.
Hey, this is DJ Super Save with an incredible app everyone who buys gas needs to know about. Get Upside. My listeners are making up to 25 cents for every gallon of gas every time they fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now. Use promo code LOCK and get a bonus 25 cents per gallon on your first fill up. That's up to 50 cents cash back. Don't pay full price at the pump anymore. Get cash back using Get Upside. Just download the app for free and use promo code LOCK to get up to 50 cents a gallon cash back on your first tank. Some people who drive a lot are making as much as $200 to $300 a month in cash back. And there's no catch. The cash back gets added right to your account. You can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code LOCK to get up to 50 cents a gallon cash back on your first tank. That's code LOCK.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
Welcome back. I'm writer and activist Stacey Anshin. You are listening to Out Chicago on WCPT 820.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller, as we roll along during this Trans Awareness Week. Yep. We're so excited about that to celebrate and lift up our trans siblings. And, of course, the good folks at Chicago House, they have been fighting the good fight for trans and gender nonconforming folks for decades. Yes, sure. And joining us now are, from Chicago House, are Lene Karlik, Director of Employment Programs, and Kevin Pleasant, Director of Trans Life Care Programs. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi. How are you?
I'm great. How are you all doing?
I'm hanging in there. I'm doing well. To be on.
Good. We're so happy to have you here. I hope Mr. Furley is doing well. Yes. Lene has this incredible dog, Mr. Furley, that I encounter on walks every once in a while.
How nice.
Yes. Amazing.
But
but that's for another time. I do want to talk. Kevin, I want to start with you. If you could remind our listeners about what is the mission of Chicago House, and as well as the focus of the Trans Life Care programs with Chicago House.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Basically, the mission, when we talk about the mission of Chicago House, we're talking about being able to make sure that people have access, that not just HIV positive individuals, but the LGBT community and all those who are in need of care services around housing, health. When we talk about health, it's a well-rounded thing. We talk about physical health, emotional health, making sure that people have access to those support services, that can keep them healthy in that manner, and with housing being the foundation of Chicago House.
I love that. I love the mission and the work that you all do, especially as you all are out there advocating for, like you were saying, for the holistic approach of health, not just, your physical health, but mental health as well, and securities, when it comes to the workforce and all of that. Lene, I know you recently participated in, you helped facilitate the statewide Identity and Innovation Summit, which examined how to support workforce development for individuals who are living with HIV, transgender and gender nonconforming folks, and folks who are living with a disability. What are y'all working on at Chicago House, and how was your presentation received? Because there were some highfalutin folks as a part of that summit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So Chicago House is an employment program, and we serve individuals who are LGBTQ living with HIV and or living with any disability. In our employment program, about 50% of our participants are transgender, and this has been rising over the last years, just like transgender identified, and particularly for people who are trans or non-binary, gender expansive. The issues around work are really different than general populations. It has a lot to do with coming out, and a lot of times people experience the inability to express their true selves at work, or also just some of the navigations of what may be happening, like if somebody does have a disability. And I just want to say, too, that living with a disability oftentimes in the systems is considered this, like, it's a box, like you're in this box. But a lot of people live with a variety of different limitations or disabilities that people need adaptation or engagement or support around work. And so, we don't come from a culture of like pro-disability or disability pride. And I think that our program is leaning more towards that in employment, where it doesn't mean that someone cannot work or should not work or that there's something wrong with the community. It means that we need to support people that have a variety of things that are coming up in the workplace. And sometimes for LGBT folks, people with HIV, long-term survivors, or people who are trans-identified have experienced a lot of trauma. There's depression, anxiety. And this summit that we had was amazing because it was really huge. We had a lot of big people at the table, and getting that attention from the state, the Department of Rehabilitative Services was really paramount, because it's our population that we're working with at Chicago House is often not seen as your quote-unquote typical disability community, right? So we deal with, oftentimes, there are clearly people who are in the community who have physical disabilities that are seen, but there's a lot of invisible disabilities that oftentimes go ignored and then unaddressed.
What would be, are you talking about with those unspoken disabilities or invisible disabilities? Are you talking about like what you were speaking of earlier, like the survivors of trauma and all that?
Trauma. It could be trauma, neurodiversity as well, like different ways of thinking. And it's really about talking about what, like in our work at Chicago House in the employment department, we talk a lot about where the individual is coming from, right? Like, and so it is a more strengths-based perspective, because I think with disability, the problem oftentimes is people are coming from such a deficit focus. And we're not saying no, people shouldn't work, or oh my gosh. It's more like, how do we gain support for people? And the thing is if you're trans in the workplace, you may encounter a ton of discrimination, likely, and depending on the process of coming out or transitioning, and people don't really know how to engage in these conversations. Not just the trans folks that we're working with, but the employers is what I mean.
Yeah.
And so Chicago House also does trainings with employers, and I'm doing a training, trans humility training this week with the Department of Rehabilitative Services. So there's a lot of communication and knowledge that needs to be shared about the community, about what people may want, the strengths of the community, the needs of the community, the employment, what helps people get employed, which is really the cornerstone of what our culture is about. All of us have some identity related to work. Even if we're not working, the first thing you go out, it's well, what do you do?
Right.
Lene, are you finding that employers are at a point where they are more open to wanting to understand and work with trans people? If in the past maybe they were hesitant for whatever their personal fears of the unknown were, and now that they are you seeing a change on the part of employers?
Yes.
Good.
Absolutely. There's a huge change, and there's a bunch of stuff going on. I mean, there's a lot of work in Chicago happening around. There's a campaign, Hire Trans Now, and there's also more work with employment for workforce programs that's happening in nonprofits all over the city, small and large, and there's consulting firms. And I mean, employers are really eating this up. Employers don't really know what to do. And so I think it's a balance oftentimes of there's so much to get into, right? There's so much and so it's focusing the aim of, in Chicago House, we can't just train everyone for everything.
Right.
Sometimes there's things, for example, in Chicago House, what we try to do is focus on training employers that will hire our clients. Because there's also employers that are right now running into some trouble, legally. We're not there. We're a medium-sized nonprofit. We can't really train everyone for everything. But there are other organizations that train for other things. So, but employers very much want to know this information, and I think that it's a good time for people to learn and hopefully shift the paradigm, because trans folks and non-binary folks, the unemployment rate is astounding, and for people trans women of color, it's even higher, and just suicide rates, and so it's not all equal, right, among the community, and so yeah.
So Kevin, go ahead, please go ahead.
I was going to jump in here and say, thank you, Lene, for that, because with employers wanting to hire, speak specifically to trans individuals and trans women of color, it's not just enough to hire these individuals. But you have to develop. You have to develop and professionally help grow these individuals. Because a lot of trans women of color may come into the workforce and they want to work and not have a high school diploma, and the majority may not have a college degree and a graduate degree. And what we see happen a lot of times is that people will hire and say, okay, well, I hired a trans person. But if you don't develop and teach the skills, you can cause more trauma.
Right.
This person doesn't feel valued. I feel as though I'm just a number here. I'm here for you to fill a quota or say that you are part of the movement to acknowledge who trans individuals are and the value that trans individuals have and can bring to an organization.
Yeah, so it sounds, so do the two of these, because clearly you both are running very different programs, but there seems to be a lot of overlap. What is your partnership with the employee programs as well as the Trans Life Care programs?
Well, the thing about that is they work together because they're both in Chicago House.
Right.
And one of the great things about how this happens is that when people come to, because we run a drop-in center called TransSafe. And so during that drop-in center, which is virtual, and now we have opened back up on the west side, you have our employment program, TransWorks, which Lene oversees, which is part of our drop-in space. So therefore, when individuals come in, if they're interested in just seeking employment opportunities, developing a resume, getting into job training programs, assistance looking for employment, we connect with Lene's department in that way. And even when we're looking for people to fill open positions, we can reach out to Lene's department and say, hey, this is what I need. Do you have anyone? Do you know of anyone? And 9 times out of 10, they do, because they've been through their program. And they already have, and they were taught the skills around what it takes to become employed and stay employed. And that's part of what really is a great thing about that connection, because with TLC and the connection with the employment program, TransWorks, these individuals learn the skills of what it takes to stay employed, because we forget that small piece sometimes.
Yeah.
What does it take to stay employed?
Important.
And very important, very important. And we say, well, we hired these individuals and they didn't work out. Well, did they have the skills or were they ever taught what it takes to stay employed?
Yeah, well, one of the best things about Chicago House is that you are working with the LGBTQ community to not only survive, but to thrive in a work environment. And so much is based on the incredible work that both of these programs are doing. I'm so sorry, this point flew by. We're already up against a break. But if you want to find out more information about all of the incredible work and the programs that are available, if you're looking for work, if you're looking for healthcare services, go to chicagohouse.org. Lene Karlik and Kevin Pleasant, thank you so much for taking time out today on a rainy Sunday, and thank you for all of the incredible work you're doing for our trans siblings and gender nonconforming and gender expansive folks as well.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Have a great Sunday, and good luck with that workshop. And we've got to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the second hour of Out Chicago right here on WCPT.
Hey, I'm Tom, host of the Consumer Guide Car Stuff podcast. Join us Sundays at 1 p.m. as the editors of Consumer Guide Automotive look at what matters most to people who own, love, or simply have to live with automobiles. Listen in for the latest news, great guests, expert analysis, and occasionally irreverent takes on what's happening in the auto world. We'll try and entertain you and maybe even save you a little money. That's the Consumer Guide Car Stuff podcast, Sundays at 1 p.m. right here on WCPT AM 820.
I'm David Hochberg. It's Sunday. You're a veteran who served our country and can use a VA loan to either purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, but you don't know who you can trust. Team Hochberg respects your service and has VA loan experts available right now to answer your questions and help you secure a VA loan. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of radio listeners secure VA loans, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Homeside Financial Legal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061.
You've asked for her. Now we got her. Comedian and talk show host Patty Vasquez. Live every weeknight from 5 to 6 p.m.
And as you would imagine, that would mean that folks want to call in and join the conversation.
Driving it home with Patty Vasquez.
Look, we want to be out. We want to gather and have a good time.
On WCPT 820.
The history of Air America lives here. This is WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
NBC News Radio, I'm Dina Kodiak. Former Trump advisor Steve Bannon is expected to turn himself in on Monday after being indicted for contempt of Congress. Bannon had refused to honor a subpoena to testify before the House committee investigating the January 6th Capitol attack on the Capitol, while also refusing to turn over related documents. The House cited Bannon for contempt, and the matter was referred to the Justice Department. Congressman Adam Schiff is happy Bannon has been indicted by the federal grand jury.
This is an early test of whether our democracy was recovered
covering. If our laws to mean anything, it has to be applied equally.
The California Democrat told Meet the Press that Bannon deserved to get indicted. Schiff says he hopes this serves as a warning to former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, who also refused to honor a subpoena from the same committee. Colorado Governor Jared Polis is defending his decision not to impose statewide COVID-19 mandates. Appearing on CBS's Face the Nation, the Democratic governor praised the efforts of Colorado universities and the ski industry for keeping students and vacationers safe. Mask mandates and vaccine requirements remain at the discretion of independent businesses and localities. Governor Polis did encourage Colorado residents to get vaccinated, saying that for the immunized, it's no longer a pandemic for you. Texas is creating a task force on concert safety after the Astroworld tragedy. The statewide task force will look for ways to strengthen security at Texas concerts following the deaths of 9 people during Travis Scott's performance. The state historically has had little control over the management of large events like Astroworld. The task force will include safety consultants, music industry experts, and law enforcement officials. An investigation is underway after a hacker sent spam emails from an FBI server to at least 100,000 people. The person's motives are unknown, and the agency's cyber experts are working to determine the extent of the damage. The message made reference to a cyber criminal group called the Dark Overlord. The spam was sent Friday night and was signed as the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's Cyber Threat Detection and Analysis Group. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive on WCPT Willow Springs is powered by ComEd. Lower your energy bills and reduce your carbon footprint with the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program.
There is truth and there are lies. Lies told for power and for profit. And each of us has a duty and a responsibility as citizens, as Americans, to defend the truth and defeat the lies.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Stephanie Miller.
California reached the lowest U.S. COVID transmission rate in the country. Here's a little tutorial for all y'alls. All residents, regardless of vaccination status, to wear face coverings in public indoor places. Residents show they've either been vaccinated or recently tested negative before patronizing certain businesses. All children 12 and older in public schools will also have to be fully vaccinated. That's how you get to the lowest transmission rate.
Stephanie Miller, weekday mornings 8 to 11. Sponsored by the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park. Visit 4Porsche.com. The number 4Porsche.com.
Dell's Black Friday event has arrived, and it's the perfect time to step up your creativity. With early access savings up to $300 off PCs, it's Dell's biggest sale of the year. Get more into what you're into with the latest XPS and Alienware systems featuring Intel Core processors. Save on top monitors, docks, and accessories, all with free shipping, plus great financing from Dell Preferred Account. Call 800-BY-DELL for Black Friday deals. That's 800-BY-DELL.
Hi, welcome to Furniture Depot. And you, come on in. Yes.
Couches are flying off the floor at Cheyenne's Furniture Store.
Sarah, can you go over to dining sets, please?
She needs more sales associates before shoppers take their seats elsewhere.
Can somebody get me a price check on trundle beds?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
Welcome back to the second hour of Out Chicago. Scott Duff here and a humming Ellen Miller.
Reunited
and it feels so good.
It does feel good to be back.
It does. Who sings that? Ours, that's I'm not. I just want to say Peaches and Herb, but that's not right. It's Ashford and Simpson.
Ashford and
That's what it is. It's not Peaches and Herb.
No.
Peaches and
Ashford
Herb.
and Simpson.
Who's bringing that up? There we are.
They were in a casino I was in years ago in the Bahamas.
Ashford and Simpson?
Yeah, one of them.
They're great.
Yeah.
I mean, talk
they
about
were gambling next to me.
Oh, they were gambling. They weren't singing. They were just hanging out.
Getting more money out of the machine.
Oh, right. That's awesome.
Hey, everybody likes to have fun, right?
Everyone likes to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you go, hey, Ashford and Simpson, how you doing?
Sort of.
You just made a face.
I just no.
That face, like, hey.
I didn't want to intrude on their gambling issues.
Oh gosh. Allegedly, we don't have a gambling problem.
No. That was in the 80s.
That was Gladys Knight.
Yeah. That was. Oh.
She had a problem with
She
gambling.
did?
Yeah, don't you remember that?
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah, she had a gambling problem.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's all right. She was on The Masked Singer, so she was all fine now.
She's good.
She's all good.
I love her. I've seen her perform lately, and she's still got it.
She's amazing. And speaking of amazing, we got some incredible guests coming up. This, Halloween is gone. The holidays are quickly upon us. I can't believe Thanksgiving is basically 10 days away. What? That means everyone's getting ready for the holidays at Second City. They're doing Deck the Hallmark, which is a lovely... I love Hallmark movies so much.
Bring the tissues.
No. They're just cheesy and they're they're
crying too. There's a lot of sadness. I mean, not sadness, but there's always some little sad.
There's always a little to tug the heartstrings. But everyone's going to learn a lesson about the true meaning of the holidays. So later on, we're going to be speaking with two of the actors from Deck the Hallmark at Second City, Mitchell Fain and Tina Arfey. But right now, we are so excited to continue our celebration of Trans Awareness Week. The Gender Cool Project is working tirelessly to celebrate trans and gender nonconforming youth and to dispel mistruths and lies and misinformation about trans youth. And joining us now are Garrett Goldstein and Jennifer Livy Grosshandler. Hello, welcome back to the show, awesome people.
Hi, how are y'all doing?
We're doing so much better now that you two are here. How are things going with you?
We're awesome. I think we're trying to yoga breathe. There's so much that has gone down, y'all, since we've last spoken. So many cool things to share with you. So it is Sunday, and we are so excited to be with y'all.
Well,
so are we.
We're very excited, and just we love having you on. We have you on whenever we can, because the work that you do is just so important. Garrett, can you just remind folks what the mission is with the Gender Cool Project, because it is just so cool.
Yeah. So we are a nonprofit organization that lifts the voices of young transgender, non-binary people to truly share with the world who these kids are and not what they are. Mm-hmm. And in that process, we are basically replacing whatever opinions people may have about trans and non-binary youth and replacing those with the actual experience of meeting young trans and non-binary kids. And we have seen such incredible progress by simply allowing that learning through relationship happen.
Yeah, and now you've also launched a brand new campaign about trans kids in sports. If you want to check out, we do have a link to it on our Facebook page. If you go to Out Chicago Radio, you can go and click onto that and see this incredible video that is so necessary right now at this moment in time. I'm pretty sure I know what led to the creation of this video, but in your words, what led to the creation of this incredible message about the importance of trans youth in sports?
Yeah, I'll let Jen tell you all about that. I think it's important and just so incredible that being on your show, WCPT, facts matter. Right? Yeah. The truth matters.
Yeah.
And that's really not what's been happening around trans youth in sports. So, Jen, can you jump in and talk about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think it if you are a human being, then you've probably seen somewhere right in the media this terrible, ridiculous wave of illegal and unconstitutional bills in some of our states that are actually stopping our children, transgender and non-binary kiddos, from, going out and trying out for the volleyball team or the badminton team, right? And, to take you behind the curtain, the truth of the matter is this. There's just a small number of very misinformed and sad folks who are running around from state to state trying to create this chaos. And we, as the Gender Cool Project, right, we are families raising our children who are thriving. And we got together, right, Gara? We got together about, it was probably 5 months ago. As a collective, and we all decided, we need to help all communities understand the truth, right? The truth. fact from fiction regarding transgender and non-binary kiddos and their connection to sports. And the bottom line is that our kids are like all kids, right? Why do folks participate in athletics and sports, right? Why do we do it for ourselves, right? And it's because it helps us find our inspiration and our power, and it teaches us teamwork, right, and resilience, and, you know, all of these words, but they're real, y'all, and they're life skills, and they're very important things. So play it out. We just launched it, I think, like this past week. My gosh, it's hard for me to even remember what day it is.
Yeah, it was this week.
I'm just like, where are we?
Where are we? I know. Every day is Blur's Day, so it's okay.
I know. But it's awesome because the reception we've gotten from, you know, it's being picked up all across the nation, y'all. Nike is a proud supporter of all of this work that we're doing. The docu-story that you mentioned at the beginning has been picked up in, like, you know, 60 cities around the country. And this is really, for us, a year-long effort. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And we are just all approaching this this conversation from a point of quite frankly, positivity, which is what we do at Gender Cool. We're going to help people understand in a way that is relatable and truthful that all kids, including transgender and non-binary kiddos, must and will continue to find their love and joy through athletics.
Jen, you know, one of the things I constantly hear when it comes to trans kids and trans young adults is the sports element. It seems like people say, I'm all for trans rights, but when it comes to sports, I don't think a trans woman should participate in women's sports. It's like the sticking point that these people just stay on. What do you tell those people?
So here's what I do. Okay, so these bills are really targeting, Ellen, they're targeting kids.
Yeah.
They're targeting children, right? So we could talk for longer than anyone would like about the fact that there are all of these common sense policies at every level, at the International Olympic Committee level, at the NCAA level, at the Association of High School Athletics level, common sense guidelines that are working, right? That are working so that all kids can participate in sports. But here's the deal, okay? Around specifically what you just asked, right? What you just said, right?
Yep.
Do you know that there's are you ready?
Yep.
There are 8 million high school kids who participate in some kind of sports. 8 million. Do you know how many transgender kids even participate in sports?
How many?
Like 1/2 of 1%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
It's a very small number.
Right. It's exactly.
And of that number, do you know how many of our kids have actually won state level competitions? How many out of 1/2 of 1%? The answer is like 3.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
such a small aspect of it. You're right. It is, and yet it's that they like to harp on it and hold on to it, and it's frustrating.
But half the folks harp and hold on to it because they actually haven't been given
the facts,
the real understanding of who these kids are. You know, who are they? What do they do? Listen to their voices. Listen to them talk about what they do with sports, right? Like, what is their connection? And I feel so sure, because good people are everywhere, y'all. Good people do live in every small town to every big city. And we believe that, you know, when we've just got to get to these people with the real information and the real stories of our kids. My Chazzy, who, quite frankly, is thinking, Mom, maybe I'll try out for the volleyball team. You know, she's not really good at volleyball, but that's okay, and she would be okay with me telling her that.
Right, yeah.
But it's okay, right?
Yeah.
But the idea that she would even try out for it, to be able to hang out with her friends.
Sure, it's a great thing for her to be able to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge.
If I could add, I think that what's lost in this conversation is kindness. And for whatever reason, we have accepted the bullying that adults are doing against young kids. And to me, it's completely unacceptable, but people aren't even aware that it's happening in that way, right? If I were to hear about someone's child who was struggling, I would step in and say, how can I help you and your child?
Yes.
How can I help make this, instead of saying, well, I don't understand it, and then that kid shouldn't even be with my kids. Like, where does that attitude come from? Why aren't we being inclusive to actually serve these kids that need additional help from us? And so why aren't more people stepping in and saying, I might not understand this, but I know that eliminating them from my school is not a solution, right? Singling them out and calling out their differences is not a solution.
It's cruel.
The solution is, how do we all understand this more appropriately and come to solutions that are working? And honestly, Ellen, those solutions have been working for decades, and it's only recently that, like you're saying, this small group of people said, oh, you know what? Most people don't understand fairness in sport, or even the science behind the current opportunities for trans and non-binary kids. And so let's use that against them, right? Let's use this tool against them. And that's what's happened. It's really sad.
It is.
And unfortunate, but I would love nothing more than for people that just simply don't understand this to give yourself some space to not make a decision based on opinion. Try and have an experience.
Yes, get some facts.
Young transgender kids. See who they are.
Beautifully said.
and that's one of the wonderful things about Gender Cool Project, and with this this brand new video, about trans youth in sports and gender nonconforming kiddos in sports, and it's so funny. Intellectually, I understand that these laws are aimed at kids, but it wasn't until you two really vocalized it. It's like they are attacking children. They're preventing children from thriving. That it really hits home in a different way, because as much as I talk about how sports are silly, blah blah blah, professional sports, but as a kid growing up, I was a part of it too. I was a part of multiple teams, multiple swim teams, water polo team, all of that stuff. And it teaches you so much. Like you were saying, it teaches you teamwork, cooperation, resilience. Kids today, now I sound like an old man, like kids today, they don't understand, like, how do you deal with disappointment when you lose? You have to learn how to do that. It teaches you, like, developing new skills. Like you were saying about Chazzy. She's not the best volleyball player, but to get on a team, she's going to improve those skills. And to and do that, let alone the physical and mental well-being that being on a sports team can help, because you are being active, you are working with your brain, you are working with community, there's a sense of pride, you are representing your school, you're representing the community, and it's such an important part of growing up that to deny like you said, what is it, like 0.1%, like a small percentage of people who actually participate in these sports. It's just ridiculous.
They hang your hat on it. It's horrible.
So thank you for that. I'm sorry.
It's not about sports, right? It's not about sports.
Right.
That's the thing. Right? We can think about it, but imagine that child who is told by their state legislatures that you do not belong.
Yeah.
The damage is horrible.
The message. It's not you don't belong in sports. It's you don't belong.
Yeah, period.
And the damage that does to someone. Imagine if that were you. Imagine if your state told you, sorry, we see you, you can do whatever you want, but if you're going to be this person, then you're not welcome here.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that is, to me, just so egregious and harmful. And, that's why Jenna and I are saying this is bullying period. That is all it is about. It is, but people aren't aware that it's even happening. So,
and it's a political tool
for having us to talk about it.
Yeah,
yeah, it's a political. It is, but I got to tell you, I think the last time we talked to y'all, it might have been back in May and stuff. And so I have to tell you that these champions, I mean, they are cranking, y'all. They will not be, these young people, this generation, they're not having it.
Right? They aren't at all.
I love that. That's beautiful.
They're not having it.
Yes.
And so, I mean, can I tell you that we were like at the White House, okay? Like President Biden and the First Lady, literally they're gender cool fans, okay? Right? So we've got our champions speaking and introducing, folks in the White House, introducing President Biden over the summer. The champions have written a whole collection of books. Y'all. Right. I mean, the whole thing is wild, right? And here in our beloved city of Chicago, it's super exciting. We're going to, the Gender Cool Project is now going to be celebrated at Equality Illinois' next gala. We're getting an award. Super cool.
Very cool. And very fancy, too.
So fancy.
And
so
well
fancy.
deserved.
And yeah. Well, now... But I know, unfortunately, we're running out of time. But I do want to ask you, because you said that that this particular campaign specifically about sports has been picked up by 60 different cities. Has there been? What has the response been in those states that have already passed some harmful legislation? I'm looking at Arkansas. I'm looking at Texas.
Yeah.
Like, have you heard from these states where young kiddos are definitely already being affected?
Yeah, I mean, the answer is that the appeals process, these illegal bills are being appealed and they're being contested, and we all believe that they will not hold up in the long term. So for now, to answer your question, we are our content is in every state that you just talked about. And we are connecting with families in these states, and we're surrounding them with love and support. And we're getting the truth out state by state, city by city, town by town. And that's what we're going to keep doing. And
that's what you should be doing. I mean, it's so, it seems kind of, serendipitous that you two are on, this past week. I used to be a teacher. I taught in Memphis, Tennessee. And recently there was a school in Memphis who is, they've put out a mandatory meeting for all parents to come to come to school to talk about the biblical response, the gospel response to gender issues that the culture is force feeding people, is what they're saying. And this comes from like a Christian school where people are supposed to be coming from love. Yeah. Like you're talking about love and kindness. And this is nothing but bigoted bullying, like you were saying. And so I think the work that you are doing now more than ever is so very important. And I personally want to thank you both and these incredible champions. They are the most coolest young people on the planet, it's so inspiring to see them just taking over the world, like you're saying, like just cranking it out. You have people speaking with Dr. Jill Biden. You have people leading all these, going to DC to lead these workshops. Whitney Houston is coming out of me right now because I believe the children are our future.
Yes, yeah,
right there, and the future is definitely gender cool. So if you want to find out more information about the Gender Cool Project and all of the incredible things, the resources that they provide, the opportunities that they have, please go to gendercool.org. And I'm so thankful that you are doing the work for all these young people and just, again, showing the world who they are, not what they are, because they are more than just their gender identity. Right on. So, Gara Goldstein.
Right on. Thank you so much.
Oh, no,
Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you, Gara Goldstein and Jennifer Levine-Grosshandler, two remarkable human beings doing the good work. Again, gendercool.org. Go check it out.
Thanks, ladies.
Gara, Jennifer, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. We love you. Take care.
See
Bye.
you soon.
Bye. You all are the best. All right. Now that we're all feeling warm and fuzzy and good, I think this is a perfect time to take a break and come into like warm and fuzzy with Second City's Deck the Hallmark, which is now playing at Up Comedy Club. We're going to be speaking with Mitchell Fain and Tina Arfey, so please stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT.
I'm David Hochberg. It's Sunday, and you're constantly complaining about paying PMI on your FHA loan, but you've done nothing about it. If you took out a 30-year fixed loan after June of 2013 and your loan-to-value was greater than 90%, you will have PMI for the entire length of your loan. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of radio listeners refinance out of their FHA loan to eliminate their PMI, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Also, financial legal housing lender, MLS 1124061.
Hi, welcome to Furniture Depot. And you, come on in.
Couches are flying off the floor at Cheyenne's Furniture Store.
Sarah, can you go over to dining sets, please?
She needs more sales associates before shoppers take their seats elsewhere.
Can somebody get me a price check on trundle beds?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, this is DJ Super Save with an incredible app everyone who buys gas needs to know about. Get Upside. My listeners are making up to 25 cents for every gallon of gas every time they fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now. Use promo code LOCK and get a bonus 25 cents per gallon on your first fill up. That's up to 50 cents cash back. Don't pay full price at the pump anymore. Get cash back using Get Upside. Just download the app for free and use promo code LOCK to get up to 50 cents a gallon cash back on your first tank. Some people who drive a lot are making as much as $200 to $300 a month in cash back. And there's no catch. The cash back gets added right to your account. You can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code LOCK to get up to 50 cents a gallon cash back on your first tank. That's code LOCK.
Check Up on Health with Chris Whitting.
Many medical experts continue to recommend aspirin to prevent heart attacks and stroke. Dr. Charles Campbell is a cardiologist at the University of Kentucky, and he led a study that found that low doses of aspirin are best.
Tests done by a group in Italy have shown that lower doses that taken chronically can suppress platelet function, which we think is what is the important issue here. And the reason that I think it's reasonable to consider lower doses of aspirin is because we also saw that there was a trend toward more bleeding among people that have higher doses of aspirin. So, aspirin can cause GI bleeding in some patients, and so we feel like the lowest effective dose is important in order to minimize side effects.
His advice, if you think heart disease is a good possibility, thanks to your family history and current health, consult your doctor and ask if a daily aspirin would be a wise preventative. With Checkup on Health, I'm Chris Whitting.
Hey, this is Mark Patton, and I'm from Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street, and you're listening to Out Chicago.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller. There we are.
Oh, it's so good to be
Mark
back.
Patton. Halloween is over. We're done with Halloween.
I know. I haven't been.
We're thinking about the holidays now.
I know.
Aren't we?
Yes.
We're thinking about the holidays.
And
that means, and when we think about the holidays, you think about yucking it up with the good folks at Second City, because right now they're making the Yuletide gay with Deck the Hallmark, which is now running at Up Comedy Club. And joining us are two of the sparkling stars on that Yuletide tree, Mitchell Fain and Tina Arfey. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hi.
Tina, are you there?
Oh, I am. I didn't hear my name.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tina.
Tina.
Oh, there you are. Hi. No, you're the most important one.
She is.
Cindy Lou Who.
Joy.
How are y'all doing? You had your audiences are coming now. How's the show going? Tell us all about what Deck the Hallmark is.
It's been so good. Yeah, we had a sold-out show last night. People are like,
they're so surprised because like it's November 13th and like we're so glad they're there, but like people are so starved for like some joy and some simple entertainment that people are like filling up a holiday show on November 13th.
Yeah. I love that.
Good.
I love that.
Me too.
So for folks who might not be familiar with about, Deck the Hallmark and all the stuff that Second City does, how would you best describe the show, Tina?
I would say that it is a absolute parody of all of your favorite things about those Hallmark cheesy, corny holiday movies.
Uh-huh.
And then take that times 10, put it on LSD.
Right.
There we go.
And who doesn't love, LSD during the holidays?
Yeah, Lakeshore Drive is beautiful this time of year. Yes.
Yeah, Lakeshore Drive is gorgeous during this time of year. So what was it's part scripted and it's part like play, part sketch, part improvisation. What was the process like as you were creating this show, Mitchell? Because you all created this, yes?
Well, this show was actually workshopped a couple of years ago, and they had a short run in 2019.
Okay.
And then the director, Carissa Barreca, has taken over and is really invested in making it like a tradition. So it is literally a 2-act play. It's also a musical. It's also improvised. It's also a spoof. And also, in a weird way, and I think Tina will agree, it ends up being quite a charming love story for several characters, actually, including Tina and I, in two different scenarios.
Oh.
So it's all of those things. It's like it's all the things rolled into one. It's a total spoof of all the tropes. But add in a wickedly funny cast of people who are brave enough to like just be lunatics every night on stage, and it's I think people are going to really love it. We've had like such enthusiastic audiences.
So how many different Hallmark movies are you spoofing?
Like 100,000.
I know.
So are they identifiable, or are you just taking little bits from each one? And
some of them are identifiable, but we're taking little bits from all of them. It's that trope of like, I'm just too busy with my big, high-powered lady career in the city to have found love, and my hometown parents hope that I run into that guy that I grew up with who's now a hunk wearing flannel. And, it's hijinks ensue is the line that gets said a lot in our show. And then hijinks ensue. With our show. Hijinks indeed ensue.
Okay, so I am a sucker for a Hallmark movie, especially around the holidays, because of these tropes. Tina, were you a big fan of the Hallmark genre? Because they are, it's always like you were saying, Mitchell, a high-powered lady from the city, and she goes back hometown, and then she might be starting her own business that's kind of holiday themed, like working at a bakery, or she is like, oh my gosh, the Christmas tree lot is here, over thinking, oh, look at this random high school sweetheart that got away from me, or I was too high-powered and busy that I didn't even notice how handsome you were, and look at this. It's so wonderful. Like, Tina, were you a fan of these movies before you started working on Deck the Hallmark at Second City?
Full disclosure, no. I haven't even. I've only seen a handful.
I'm with you. I haven't either.
But it's been fun. It's sort of that play on like all that corny stuff that people have told us is relatable in a way, and maybe was at a certain point in our lives, but like I have never been a big city businesswoman. No man has swooped in and saved me with his, romance or anything like that. But it is a joy. Again, there's nothing more fun than like leaning into something that is so far from who you are and just getting to play with it.
Are you doing any gender bending with some of these themes? Like the big businesswoman comes home they want her to have that special guy, and instead she falls in love with some woman? Or is there anything like that? Any themes?
Well, the thing is, there's a couple of cool things about the casting of the show. First of all, the creative team is is all women, right? So there's a female director and a musical director and a stage manager. So there's a lot of really great energy around that, which is not always the case at Second City.
Right.
So shout out to Carissa Barreca, who we all love very much, the director. Everyone look out for her. And but also, like, and I say this having many white, cis, straight men that I love, there isn't one in our cast.
Right.
Not a single one.
Okay.
All right.
Not a single one.
All right.
Not a single one is, and so our casting is all sorts of gender expressions, and even Tina and my relationships, it's sort of anyone's guess what gender any of the people we're playing are.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm looking for. All right.
Which makes it,
we have a couple
those tropes. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
those
we have
tropes.
a couple non-binary people on the cast, which has been so fun. And I get to play, like, multiple characters. And, like, I think coming to see the show, you'll see exactly what we're talking about. Like, if you could place the gender in, like, half of the characters I play, then you're probably wrong.
Right.
Here's the mark for me of the fact that this show is working, because we're all aware that this is a very silly show, quite deliberately and quite intelligently silly. And here's how you know. At the beginning of the rehearsals, our director, Carissa, said, I want people to be inspired to sing along. I want people to applaud the romance. I want people to, like, boo the villain without being prompted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And guess what? That's exactly what's happening.
Perfect.
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, and that's part of the appeal about a Hallmark movie. It doesn't pretend to be anything other than it is. It is schlocky. It is so earnest in its idyllic quest for wholesomeness. Go ahead.
Yeah, we are so earnest, and I think Tina would agree with me. We are so earnest in our desire to entertain and be as lunatic as possible. It's not put on. We're enjoying ourselves so much, and I think if I had to, like, sell this show in one quote, it would be, "You're going to have so much fun because we are."
And that's always a good sign of a good show.
Fun is contagious.
Yeah. So this is always, like, having done holiday shows myself in the past, you start rehearsing, well before Halloween, and, like, you get all holidayed out. Have you reached holiday saturation yet at this early date, or are you still brimming with good cheer?
I'm still feeling pretty good. I think part of the thing has been that we haven't been able to sort of celebrate holidays in the same way over these past almost 2 years now. So there was, like, a void, and I'm not even Christian. Most of my family's Muslim, but, like, I'm having a blast. I've always loved Christmas songs, and it finally feels like it's nice to get a bunch of people in the same room in the spirit of holiday,
Sure.
Yeah.
People are appreciating it.
As a gay atheist Jew, nobody loves Christmas more than me.
I know. We know that about you, Mitchell.
I know.
As a gay Greek Orthodox fallen off, I love Christmas, everything about
I love it all.
The traditions.
So I'm excited. I love the lights. I love the spectacle.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, Tina, if we get holidayed out. But right now, it has given me, like, an excitement about this coming season that I don't always get in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Nice to, yeah.
Well, and of course, and just from an actor perspective, it's great to be working.
Well, there's that too.
There's that right there. But just also to be able to do something that is so silly and so earnest, and the only purpose there right now is to make people laugh and to bring joy, to the world, as it were.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and that's Carissa. That's been Carissa's thing, right? Is that she's like, I want us all to just bring joy. I mean, Scott, you're a funny guy. You make your living as a funny guy, and the joy from saying something at that exact moment that you feel in your heart, and you say it, and then a room full of people laugh. I mean, there's kind of nothing better. Whatever that magic is, that alchemy, there's nothing better.
It's true. It's very, very true. Now, I would be remiss if we did not just touch upon COVID protocols. What's Second City up to in terms of audiences, just so that folks can feel, safe when they go to see Deck the Hallmark at the Up Comedy Club.
For sure. So you have to be vaccinated.
Awesome.
To present your card when you arrive. The whole time the audience is masked. The only people not masked are us when we're on stage. And we get tested weekly with a PCR, and then throughout the show weekend, at least 2 other times with a rapid, just to be extra cautious.
Mm-hmm.
The only time the audience can kind of lower their mask is to take a sip of their drinks, but then they are asked to politely please put those back up. So it's been pretty good. Our cast has been really safe.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I love Second City. And I love the fact that there are just crazy people like the two of you who are able to just go and be goofy. Be goofy for the sake of goofiness.
And bring joy.
And bring joy to the world.
all of us.
Yeah. We run through January 2nd. We run Thursday and Friday at 8, Saturday at 4 and 8, and Sunday at 3 and 7 until January 2nd. It looks like it's selling pretty well, but it really is a party, and it's a good time, and there's we encourage people to sing along, and it's really wonderful, and I hope to see both of you there.
We want to come. Mitchell, it says on the website it's extended to January 5th.
Oh,
well, surprise to both of you.
You're working a few extra days so far, so there you go.
Listen, I'll take the cash.
Exactly.
Right?
I figured you would like to hear that. So.
Oh, just real quick for people who are listening, yes, it is based on Hallmark movies, which are family-centric. What would you say in terms of the age range for the show, for the audience?
It's rated R. I'm going to go.
Oh, good.
Atta girl.
I was happy.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't hold back.
Good.
I would say, a savvy city teenager is going to love this show.
Absolutely. Okay.
Okay.
But if you're from the burbs and you want to bring your family in, this ain't Christmas Carol.
It ain't Christmas Carol. No, definitely not.
Great. Well, I cannot wait to watch Mitchell Fain and Tina Arfey be just absolutely ridiculous and R-rated as they celebrate all things cheese-tastic with Deck the Hallmark at Second City, now running at the Up Comedy Club through January 5th. Now we know. Mm-hmm. Surprise. If only those 3 days gave all the insurance weeks that you need. There we go. But go check it out. For find out tickets, go to secondcity.com. Mitchell and Tina, thank you so much for brightening up our day and for bringing so much joy and goodwill and cheer, which we so desperately need right now.
Yes.
Love you.
Love you too. Looking forward to it. Thanks.
Bye.
All right, there they go. Remember, go see Deck the Hallmark. It's now playing at Second City's Up Comedy Club. Go to secondcity.com. We've got to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the final thrilling show-stopping moments about Chicago right here on WCPT.
Think Theory Radio.
We enter this world of hyper-reality. In case you didn't know, hyper-reality is the inability of consciousness to distinguish reality from a simulation of reality, especially in technologically advanced societies. The action of hyper-reality is to desire reality in an attempt to achieve that desire to fabricate a false reality that is to be consumed as real.
Think Theory Radio with Damian Perdue. Saturdays at 6 p.m. on WCPT 820.
Dell Technologies' biggest business sale of the year has arrived. Step up your vision with top tech up to 45% off during their early access Black Friday event. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Plus, get incredible savings on Windows 11 PCs, along with servers, monitors, and docks, all with free shipping. There's also special financing with Dell Business Credit. Get started by contacting your Dell Technologies advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Well, the Democrats are fighting amongst themselves. The Republicans are still trying to overturn the 2020 election, and the Fed is going to stop easing money next year. So what could you do, you ask? Time to buy that new home. Or if that doesn't float your boat, it's definitely time to refinance. Call me, Scott Silberman, at 847-423-0301 to discuss your financing needs. For purchases, I will run you through automated underwriting, so you will have a solid pre-approval when you start looking. Realtors really love that Oops. For refinances, whether you are looking to get cash out to consolidate debt or do some home improvement, shorten your loan term, or just get a lower rate, quit waiting. The Fed couldn't be any clearer. Rates next year are going up. So call me today, Scott Silberman, at 847-423-0301. Start online at scottsilberman.go, apmc.com. And yes, this old school liberal still answers his own phone, 847-423-0301.
American Portfolio Mortgage is an equal housing opportunity lender, NMLS 175656, Scott's NMLS 681059.
Hi everyone, it's me, Tooth 19. I can't believe I'm watching my brother, Tooth 30, get his first root canal today. I told him that black hole didn't look pretty. It got so painful it kept all 32 of us up last night, in agony. Thank goodness Total Dentistry could see him right away. Oh, there's the needle. But wait, he didn't even flinch. I thought a root canal would be much worse. My brother, Tooth 30, is sleeping through all of this. The Total Dentistry team makes this look so easy and simple. Maybe it's because they do this every day. Well, my brother 30 is done now, and he doesn't even remember a thing. Maybe now we can all get a good night's rest. I love Total Dentistry because they know teeth are people too. Total Dentistry, 847-358-2477, or visit totaldentistry.org. Total Dentistry, a general dental practice like no other.
Welcome back. I'm improviser Matthew Van Colden. You're listening to Out Chicago on WCPT 820.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller, as we roll along. There we are, rolling along.
Showing Scott pictures from my trip in
I know, I should show you my food pictures from Millennium.
Yeah, we have a lot to share.
So we do so much to share.
So much
to share.
You miss a little, miss a lot.
Speaking of sharing,
yes, dear.
So this week, Big Bird shared that he got that he was vaccinated and got the booster.
I was watching the beginning of Saturday Night Live, and Kathy had to explain to me why Ted Cruz was the brunt of the cold open.
I didn't watch it last night.
Yeah, I heard he criticized Big Bird.
He went after Big Bird, talking about like
freaking moron.
about things that are woke.
What a freaking moron! Okay, can I say it again? Can I say it a third time?
Say it.
Yeah. What a freaking moron.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
You get out of this country for a week and look at how goofy it is.
I know. Yes, Devin.
I mean, maybe Big Bird just need to call Ted Cruz while he's ugly.
There we go. Yeah, to call him a dog.
And maybe he'll really respect him that way.
A little kiss on his little, what do they call those chickens' feet?
Chicken feet?
Yeah, they got like the claws or that.
Claws.
I thought they had a name for that.
Tendrils?
Chicken feet.
Tendrils? I don't know. No.
I don't know.
know.
But Big Bird got vaxxed, and Big Bird is all about supporting. Big Bird has been an advocate of vaccinations since the 70s. Shall we remember that, everybody? And also, Big Bird is a Muppet. Big Bird isn't real. Well, no, Big Bird is real. Big Bird is real inside my head. Totally.
People, yes.
Big Bird is still real in my heart. All the Muppets are real.
They are.
To my
They're
heart.
wonderful.
You know me. That's like my go-to whenever I'm feeling blue. Muppets. Always at the Muppets.
You do.
I do. I love them.
Yes.
Because here's the thing.
They're warm and fuzzy.
Well, because they're all about joy.
Yes,
they're
they
about
are.
joy and kindness.
And kindness.
And here's the thing. The Muppets are really bad at their jobs. Fozzie's not a good comedian. Kermit's like an okay MC. Miss Piggy, she's not a great actor, but they just love what they do. And they're just there being joyful and so happy. And Big Bird got vaccinated, and Big Turd from Texas,
that's right.
He decides that he was going to get all upset about it. I don't
What is
get
the
it.
problem?
Well, it's I think they're all latching onto this whole GOP talking point right now, where they are really going after education. They don't want people to think. That's what's happening. They don't want opposing views. They view that, last week we talked about critical race theory. We've been talking about today. We talked about the issues with gender and gender identity. People are frightened of the other, and they don't understand that we become a better country, better community, better people when we open ourselves up to a variety of experiences. I'm knocking over my water bottle now.
Absolutely.
But it's just for thought. And the the thing that's just so bizarre to me is that most of these people are claiming to come from a biblical perspective, to be coming from like, this is what Jesus said. Jesus said none of this. Jesus was an advocate for the poor, is what Jesus did, and was an advocate of love, and was looking out for humanity, for their fellow humans. And now the GOP has grabbed this faux Christianity where all they want to do is not support programs that help the poor, not provide voices for people who have not been heard. They want to squish everything down, and that's what's going on. And so they go after Big Bird, which is just one of the most ridiculous things on the planet.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
And I think we were talking about earlier, there was a school, one of our rival schools when I was taught. Now I'm going to call them out. Briarcrest. It's Briarcrest Christian Academy.
Briarcrest.
In Memphis, Tennessee. They've always been horrible in terms because they are, quote unquote Christian school. You have to go there and to work there, you have to sign a statement of faith. Like, you have to sign a statement of faith about that you are Christian and you believe in the Bible. Again, even though that the Bible does not say
things
that people are thinking that it says. And so they put out a statement about like, there's a mandatory meeting now of all parents to talk about like how to become from a gospel perspective towards this. And I'm like, the only gospel perspective is love and kindness and generosity and looking out for the least among us. And so they are going after youth. They're going after queer youth, and that's what they're aiming at. And they don't want to broaden people's horizons. There's been I know people are banning books again, but books like The Handmaid's Tale. And I don't know what is so
threatening to them
with The Handmaid's Tale, unless this is their playbook, because that's what it seems like. The Handmaid's Tale, if you haven't read it, I remember the first time I read it, the Margaret Atwood book, it blew my mind, and I read it when I was in college, so 87 years ago. And then I revisited it a couple years later, I think at some point during like the Clinton administration, and I'm like, oh, this would never have. This is so silly. It's dated. We've moved on for so much, and now, of course, it feels like we're back into that whole thing. So if you haven't picked up the book, pick it up. It's phenomenal. But we have to be very, very vigilant. And again, the GOP, they are starting they have a grassroots organization that they are going after school boards right now, and that is where people, especially like elected officials, and this is how it starts. We need to be vigilant. So if you live in a community where your school boards are elected, make sure that you are watching who is being put up for these positions. And if you have a child, or even if you don't have a child, if you just believe in a broad experience, consider running, because this was always my issue with like the Green Party or whatever sort of third party. Every election year, whenever it's a big election, every 4 years, they throw in a candidate. And I'm like, no, you need which is fine, do it. But I think in order for you to make change, you have to start at the smaller levels, and that's what's happening. They're going into the things.
Yes, they are.
Have you listened to the podcast South Lake?
Yes, I did.
It's pretty amazing. And then South Lake was also just recently in the news again for the same thing. But we are a better people when we hear more stories, when we get a broader experience.
Absolutely.
That's what's going on.
That's what makes us great. And they forget about this. I mean, the melting pot that America was, the cultures that came here, all different, the Asian, the Chinese that built the railroad, every single group came and gave, that dedicated their lives and their work. And now this white supremacy kind of attitude is just...
Yeah. Well, and also make sure we don't overstate the whole melting pot sort of thing, because I don't know exactly how much that was really there. We did have...
There was a lot of
we are a nation
prejudice
we are a nation of immigrants, and we are thankful for the labor and contributions to society, but when it comes to rights and freedoms, that has not happened. We have not been melting.
No.
We've been very much... Even look at Chicago.
We kept them in their places. You're good for labor, slave labor, but other than that...
We're good for different things. We are not a melting pot. We are, I don't know, we're more of an ice cube tray. Or something, or a Jell-O mold, where there are definitely like pockets. Even here in Chicago, we are a very segregated city.
So segregated.
Now, granted, people enjoy going to the neighborhoods, to be like, I want
to Little Village and had some wonderful,
I want to go to Little Vietnam. I want to go to Chinatown. I want to go to, Ukrainian Village. Like there are places, there are pockets that we want to, but we are still a very segregated city. So I think when we're talking about a melting pot, that really wasn't there.
The economic disparities are still very, very prevalent.
And that's why it's so great about this infrastructure bill that is moving forward, because it is looking at... Pete Buttigieg is doing such a great job in terms of like, look, we need to look at why these highways were built. They were built to separate white and black communities. A lot of them. When were these created? That's what's going on. We need to look at the equity when it comes to transportation, when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to things like, broadband internet. That was a huge thing that's happening. Like in Virginia, all the stuff they're talking about, like this is education. The whole thing that... It was a big education issue. Like parents are going to be able to be a part of this thing, and yet they're against this infrastructure bill, which would bring broadband internet to all of to the country, where, this last year and a half, students have been forced to learn at home, but if they don't have access to the internet, how can they do that? That's an education issue.
It is. They want to keep the have-nots without, and it's not going to move our country in the right direction.
And here I am getting all worked up near the end of the show, but I do think I need to end. We have to end on a positive, lovely.
Note.
Well, there are two positive notes. One, T.J. Osborne kissed his boyfriend
on the Country Music Awards.
On the Country Music Awards,
nice.
He is part of the duo, the Brothers Osborne. After he won, they won Vocal Duo of the Year, the
nice.
Country Music Awards. It was very exciting. So they had a little smoochy smooch, and he just came out 10 months ago.
Yeah, I remember.
Which has been a huge thing for the LGBTQ community and
have some representation in the
country music.
Country music is important.
And as long as we're talking about music and funky national anthems and everything, okay, so you remember Fergie and her questionable rendition of the national anthem for the 2018 NBA game?
Yep.
Okay,
the All-Star.
Rob Anderson, I believe was his name. He created this children's book.
Yeah.
Have you seen the book?
No.
I'm going to show it to you before we leave.
Okay.
Where basically he interprets her lyrics, because they aren't necessarily the lyrics of the national anthem, into a children's book. It is beautiful. It is gorgeous. It is wonderful. Again, it's on our Facebook page.
I love it.
So check it out.
Okay.
The only national anthem we need. All right. And that brings us to the end of another show.
Wow.
I want to thank all of our guests, Kevin Pleasant, Lene Karlik, Jennifer Levine Grosshandler, Gara Goldstein, Mitchell Fain, and Tina Arfei. Devin, thank you so much for running the show over here. We've got Paul and a host of folks running the things on Paul and Matt. There we are. Thank you so much. Thank you, Paul and Matt. Ellen, welcome back. So happy to see you. There we are. And I'm Scott Duff. And until next week, stay proud.
Amy Goodman reports on the news stories rarely covered by the corporate media.
In Chile, security forces shot dead 2